So they go on and they ask their question. Verse 3, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any and every reason? Right? And so you have to understand, there were, at this stage in history, there were two different views of divorce. View number one said this. It said that you could basically divorce a woman for any and every reason. Okay, so here's what you have to understand. Back in this day, the religious leaders, one school of thought was this. You don't have to have a document. You don't have to have a judge. You don't have to have a jury. You don't have to have any key reason. I mean, she could burn the chicken. She could burn the meal. She could do anything that didn't please you, and you just send her away. And you got to understand, at that day and age, when you would send that woman away, she had no legal rights. She had no right to work. She couldn't support herself. She couldn't go back to her family because it was very embarrassing. It looked like she had been a horrible wife. And so what Moses said was let's give her a certificate of divorce, this male-oriented society. Let's make sure that she can have some rights, some legal abilities, and some abilities to go back to the life she lived before this guy first married her. But this first school of thought said you could just kick her out. You could just send her away, no matter what. And then there was a second school of thought. Second school of thought said this. You could divorce a woman only if there was immorality during the engagement period. Now, you don't understand this in your culture, in our culture, so let me explain. In their culture, the opportunity for divorce started at the engagement point. Right? When you get down on your knee in our culture, you ask somebody to marry you. If you were living in a Jewish culture back then, the point at which a divorce would be necessary would start from there all the way through the wedding ceremony and beyond. And so you're most familiar with this where? In the Christmas story. You think about Joseph. Mary was found to be pregnant, full with child, or whatever the wordage is and the verbiage is in the Bible. And so what happened was, she was pregnant, and Joseph, it said that he had put in his heart to put her away quietly. Now that word, put her away, is literally one Greek word that's translated divorce everywhere else in the New Testament. But in this, it was to emphasize that Joseph was trying to be compassionate with Mary. Because in this second view, any kind of immorality, you didn't have to prove it. Right? If the girl goes off behind the barn and there's a suspected immorality, and she comes out and dad of the young teenage boy who might have been betrothed to her, if he saw something like that, there was no proof. It didn't matter if sex had happened or not. You could get rid of the woman. A male-dominated culture and society. And so with these two views in mind, contradicting, which one did Jesus say Moses would say? What did Jesus say, and did it square up with Moses? That's why they came.